It's Christmas. It's over. There were 5 games on, and we're going to talk about all 5 games, other news, waiver wire trends. It's all coming up, along with Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and welcome to the Local Calzone Zone. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. Become a double banger. Listen on audio, watch on video, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, leave comments down below. You know it's the way to do it. We're here to recap all of the action from Christmas Day, the beginning of Week 10 in the NBA. We're going to talk about all 5 of the games that happened, the waiver wire trends, the news, and a lot of big injury news items that are actually positive for once. We don't get that happen very often. Some positive injury return players returning from injury. That's what I'm trying to say. So who's coming back? A couple of Jalen Duren and Jalen Johnson. Jalen Duren is listed probable for the Pistons. Jalen Johnson, Shams tweeted out, yeah, he's coming back. And the Hawks said, nah, settle down, Shams. They put him as questionable. I do think that he's coming back, so I'm not too worried about it. But again, just a reminder, the Hawks did list Jalen Johnson as questionable. They also listed Trae Young as questionable with a shoulder issue, while DeAndre Hunter is out for a few weeks with a knee issue. But the Jalens are returning, Johnson and Duren. They will be back tomorrow, most likely. Marcus Smart is also on the brink of returning. And once Woj tweets that, hey, Marcus Smart's been upgraded to questionable, you can feel pretty good about him coming back, and that's exactly what happened today. So Woj tweeted about Smart, so Smart should be back. Whether he starts or not, doesn't really matter. He's worth a grab. Doesn't mean he's going to be a must roster all season long, Marcus Smart, but he's worth looking at and adding and seeing exactly where this goes. Terry Rozier with knee soreness. He missed the last game for the Hornets. He's not on the injury report. You'll be absolutely stunned to know that Mark Williams is doubtful, again, for the 9th consecutive game. And Brandon Miller is questionable with his ankle issue. So Rozier's back, but we don't know about Miller, and we definitely know about Mark Williams. Some other key questionable news. Victor Wembanyama's questionable after missing the last game. We expected that. Karl Towns is questionable. That's a huge positive. So it doesn't look, they can be a bit iffy with their injury reports as well, the Wolves. But it doesn't appear like that's going to be a long-term absence. And like I said, Trae Young is questionable as well. We also got an update from Woj on Draymond Green, saying that the overall length of the suspension probably is 11 to 13 games. I talked about this on the injury update show earlier on today and expressed my dissatisfaction with the way the NBA handles this indefinite suspension timeframe. But it looks like Draymond could be back towards the beginning of January. If you want to grab him, you grab him. He's not a must in a points. He's fine in a category league, but it's not for everybody. I don't think that impacts guys like Brandin Podziemski that much. Well, not guys like Brandin Podziemski. Well, actually, let's rephrase it. Yes, guys like Brandin Podziemski. And amazingly, there's only one guy that is actually like Brandin Podziemski, and that's the actual Brandin Podziemski. That's a lot of time saying Brandin Podziemski in one go. It's not like Beetlejuice. I don't think he's going to pop up here, but you never know. Maybe his dad does. Who knows? Anyway, Brandin Podziemski, I think he'll be fine when Draymond returns. I think it's going to be more Kuminga and maybe Jackson Davis who cops a bit of a hit there in that scenario. But we did have that update there on the big fella, Draymond Green. Let's look at some waiver wire trends over the last 24 hours. Who were the most added players? Nearly all of these ones were stream-ins for Christmas. Number 1 is Dante Exum, and we did get some news from the big fella Jason Kidd about the starting lineup for the Mavs. We got it drip-fed to us over a couple of days. Because last time we talked that Dante Exum was going to be the starter, and he is. But apparently Derek Jones is also going to be a starter, and Grant Williams will come off the bench. So they're going to go with Kyrie, Luka, Exum, Jones, and Lively. At the start of the season, even before the preseason, there is no way in the world I could have told you that was the starting lineup. None. I didn't think Lively was going to start. Exum, get out of here. Derek Jones, I don't think he was signed to begin the season. Just a wild turn of events. But yeah, Exum should be rostered. I do think Jaden Ivey should be rostered. Don't know how it's going to go. Don't know what Monty Williams is going to do. Especially with Killian Hayes returning to action in the next game. Are we going to get screwed? Probably. But we'll watch it. Paul Reed, very, very solid ad. The result was less than solid, but that made sense with him beat out. Dante DiVincenzo, well, we're going to talk Knicks later on. We'll see what happens there. And then Brandin Podziemski up 10%. Now on Basketball Monster, his advanced roster percentage metrics up to 91%. So most people in leagues that are serious have rostered him. Unfortunately, that doesn't always reflect to the Yahoo roster percentage. He's still not at a high enough number there. So there's still ability for you guys to have a look to see if Pods is available. It would be wild to me if he was. But if he is, going at him. And the last name on that list is Rui Hachimura. And Rui Hachimura showed you why I talk about Rui Hachimura the way that I talk about Rui Hachimura in today's game. So, yes, I guess streaming him in for today and the fact that there's 3 more quality games for the Lakers this week makes a little bit of sense. But, most drop players. Taylor Horton-Tucker, down 10%. We got the update from the Jazz, and it doesn't really clarify a huge amount. It clarifies a little bit. Both Keontae George and Taylor Horton-Tucker are questionable for Tuesday's game. If George plays, Horton-Tucker's not a 12-team league guy. If George is out and Horton-Tucker does play, then he is a 12-team league guy. And if both of them are out, well, Chris Dunn's the 12-team league player. So all we know is that there is a 50-50 chance for both of them, like allegedly, according to the questionable tag. But that's where we're at. I don't mind dropping Horton-Tucker. It wasn't a long-term thing. Dylan Brooks down 9%. Absolutely. Cool. Do it. Matisse Thybulle down 8%. We know what he is. Steals, streamer, block streamer, fine. Isaac Okoro down 7%. His role is relatively secure. We don't have an update yet whether Don Mitchell's going to play, but Okoro's got at least a little bit of value, more for 14-teamers. Ben Mathurin down 6%, very clear drop, and his teammate Isaiah Jackson down 6% as well. He is now back to being the third-string center. And of course, we're not going to mess around holding on to a third-string center waiting for something awesome to happen because it probably isn't going to happen. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with me and the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. So whether you're doing sort of daily draft stuff or you're looking on the waiver wire, eBay Motors is here to help you provide the players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. Talked about this guy in the past. I'm going to do it again, but Dante Exum. Because with this news that he's going to be a starter, at least for the intermediate term, he's not going to shoot as well as he has. We know this. And maybe I'm talking complete crazy and he got injured during this Christmas game today and it looks stupid. But Exum's a guy that we grab and we just ride it out until it dies. His value is there. The role is looking relatively secure and we go with it. So Dante Exum, someone to have a look at. Is that going to help win your fantasy championship? Well, it's going to give you some positive steps. And that is what we're all about here. And eBay Motors knows that a championship team is all about each player being a perfect fit. And that is the same with your vehicle. They've got over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. And you can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly. They've got brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever it is that your baby needs. eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to US customers, eligible items only, and exclusions apply. Okay, we're going to go into the games now. Yeah, it's a good time to go into them. Let's go to the first one. It was the early game, of course. We always know how Christmas works. First game, Bucks-Knicks. Knicks win it, 129-122 onto the Bucks side. Yanni, 39 minutes, 32, 13, 6, 1 steal, 2 blocks, bad field goal, or bad free throws, good field goals. It's just a Giannis line. We know what he does by now. Damian Lillard had 32, 1 and 8. There were some people that were panicking about Lillard this season. He's 12th. You probably picked him at 10th. I couldn't think of a more bang-on draft pick at this point, honestly. That's sort of exactly what you wanted. And I know it's been rough from Chris Middleton this season, but, all right, 33 minutes, 24, 2 and 6, 4 threes. If he gives you top 70 numbers the rest of the way, and you probably picked him at 90, yeah, you're going all right. Brook Lopez, 14 and 6, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He is now 76th over the last 2 weeks. He's 51st for the season. I think that 60 mark is about right for him. Had a real slow start, a red-hot stretch, and now sort of middling out, which is good. Bob Portis, 31 minutes for Portis. That's really interesting. Now, he did the Bob Portis thing. Basically, though, we actually Marvin Bagley'd it. 12 and 9, no threes, no assists, no steals, and no blocks. And that's what Portis does. But if he does it in 30 minutes, or he gets 30 minutes, that's enough to roster. My problem was he was playing like 22 minutes a night. And even with Jay Crowder out, he just wasn't playing enough. But now he is. Leaky Beasley, just the 19 minutes, went scoreless. 0 of 2, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. I said the other day I don't think he's a must-hold player anymore. He will have a stretch where he gets hot again. But that's it. There's so many of these guys that you can find during the season. Like Taurean Prince is rolling like that at the moment. Beasley's been really good this season, but he's now 142nd for the year. And that is just not a must-roster player. So, in fact, Jack, get that garbage out of here. Fine, fair enough. On to the Knicks. And honestly, it's the same shit. 41 minutes for Julius Randle, 24-9. 6 of 6 from the line. Somehow this man is prime Steph Curry from the line. And Brunson had 38, 4 and 6 in 37 minutes. Good numbers from those guys. And then the rest is like a who knows or who cares or when does it happen? We don't know. Because today it was a Josh Hart game. 10-9 with 4 assists in 31 minutes. That brings Hart up to be the 181st player over the last 2 weeks. Because we can't rely upon minutes or production. Emmanuel Quickley, well, he went off 20 points in 22 minutes with 0 rebounds and 1 assist. That brings him up to the 153rd player over the last 2 weeks. And of course, with those two going off, it meant that Dante DiVincenzo had 3 points in 21 minutes with 4 assists on 17%. He's actually been the best player over the last 2 weeks, 102nd. But the minutes are not there for everybody. The production is not there. So the Hart, Quickley, DiVincenzo, and we'll even throw Rowan Barrett, Trump, or Quartet into that mix. How do you trust any of them? The answer is you can't. Barrett is now 167th over the last 2 weeks, 158th for the season. I look at all 4 of those guys, and if I saw them on your 12-team roster, I'd go, fair enough. And if I saw them on your waiver, I'd also go, fair enough. And to me, that's the definition of a streamer. You don't have to have them. You can have them. If you do, it's fine. But if you want to drop them, it's also fine. Because there's too much back and forward with role, minutes, usage. It changes every game. There's not enough consistency in it. Quentin Grimes has dropped way out of favor. Teams who are smart should go after him. The Knicks have been smarter in the front office, so they probably won't get rid of him, but they should go after him. Hartenstein played 33 minutes, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists and a block is not spectacular, but it's good enough. And what I feel confident with him is the role is there each night. And that makes him a must roster over a Hart or a Quickley or a Barrett or a DiVincenzo. He's going to play 33, 34 a night, and it's going to be good enough to use him in most leagues. He's 87th over the last 2 weeks. So some good numbers from Hartenstein, solid enough production here in this one from him. The second game of the day is one where I guess a lot of our fantasy attention ended up going, and that was the Golden State Warriors and the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets win it 120-114, the final score. But let's talk Podziemski. 34 minutes for the big fella. 13, 9, and 6 with 5 steals. Now, the 5 steals, we know that it's fluky. It's not going to be a thing that happens. But he has a very innate ability to just do shit. Like, that's what Podziemski does. Brandon do shit Podziemski. Old DS over here. 3DS, Nintendo, Switch. There you go. Brandon Switch Podziemski. 13, 9, and 6, 5 steals, 57%. Now, the usage is really low, but he played 34 minutes. And honestly, again, he continues to show that there is a debate to go, is he the Warriors' second best player? Because at the moment, he's playing like it. There'll be nights where Clay does it. If Draymond was available, he might do it. There are nights where Chris Paul does it. But Podziemski's in the argument. It's a stupid argument to say about the 19th overall pick. But he's doing it. Over the last 2 weeks, he's the 58th ranked fantasy player as well. There is absolutely zero reason not to roster Podziemski. And I don't want to hear, well, what about when Draymond comes back? Who cares? Like, he actually might continue doing it. Johnny Kuminga, the bucket, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 23 minutes. You know he's going to just be a bad omen for your free throw percentage. In points leagues, he's obviously a bit stronger. He hasn't really blown up the way Podziemski has with Draymond out. He's okay to roster, but if I'm choosing between them, I'm choosing Pods. And this was a good Wiggins game. 22 points, 29 minutes, 64%. That's his third good game for the season. He has yet to do back-to-backs. We'll see. Again, I don't hate it. If you want to get in front of it and think, well, maybe he's figured it out, I'm not fooled by it yet. But I'm not going to be against that. But let's talk bad. Let's talk the bad stuff, because Steph wasn't very good. 18, 2 and 4, 33%. He hit 3 threes. He is now 52nd over the last 2 weeks, and he's 14th for the season. I thought Steph would be much better than this season, obviously. I didn't want to take him in the top 6 because I was worried about games played and age and that sort of stuff. But I didn't think that his actual production would regress, because it has regressed. Not as much as what Klay Thompson's has. And we had Klay on watch for a while, and then we decided we were going to take him off. And so he's playing a little bit better now. Still worried somewhat about the efficiency, but we're back there. And that's the thing with watch. They can still put up big numbers. They can still do it for short stretches. But it ends up being the consistency. Klay had 9 points on 25%. He had a steal and a block. He's been really good, but he's not even top 125 player this season. You still want to roster him, but the consistency has gone somewhat, or to a large degree. Chris Paul had 13 points in 28 minutes. He has not really jumped up with Draymond out. In a 10-teamer, I don't think you need to hold on to Chris Paul. Trace Jackson Davis, 15 minutes. He did have some foul trouble, 5 fouls. He had 8 and 3, and one thing we know about him is he is going to rack up numbers in limited minutes. He is sort of trending downwards because they're putting a bit more into Looney, who played 22 minutes. But I'm going to hold Jackson Davis for a couple more, exactly just to see where this goes. Because there's been a lot of games here where he has been better than Šarić and Looney. The fouls limited him. His last two haven't been great. He played a little bit next to Šarić, which is also encouraging. But it could die off very easily. I'm holding him for now. And Moses Moody basically out of the rotation. Not sure what's going to happen when Gary Payton returns. We'll see. I don't think Podziemski's losing out there. He has been too good to suggest that he would lose out to Gary Payton. For the Nuggets, Jokic, 26, 14, and 8. Now, 33 from the field is horrible, but 18 of 18 from the line is great. He continues to be not quite at his best, but still pretty good. While the headmaster, 28 and 5 with 2 steals and 3 threes for Jamal Murray. He's on a nice little hot streak, and Michael Ponder dropped in 19 and 10, and we got a good KCP game. 16 points for, I was going to try to develop a nickname there off the fly for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Almost called him Mad Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, but maybe I did. Let's do it. The Madman. Mad Kentavious. 16, 4 and 5, 2 steals and 4 threes with 46% shooting. This is his first real good offensive game in a while, and that brings him up to 150th over the last 2 weeks. Treat him more as a threes and steals streamer than anything else. Gordon had a double-double, 16 and 10 with bad free throws. That's a standard from him. And then not much else. Reggie Jackson's production's fallen off. He did have a bit of a trip to the locker room, but he had 2 points in 15 minutes. He's still rostered in a lot of 12-team leagues, and you do not need to do that.
Get that garbage out of here!
Well, Christian Brown played 11 minutes. Remember Christian Brown as the Bruce Brown replacement or the guy that dominated in the finals off the bench? He has not taken steps forward this season. In fact, some may suggest that he might have taken some steps backwards. Maybe. Today's episode is also brought to you by the Game Time app. You shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event. Why would you need to worry? It's a fun event. It's a joyous occasion, much like the holiday season. Getting to go and see something fun, a sporting event, comedy, music, theatre, whatever it is. But sometimes it can be ruined by the experience on ticket buying sites. They hide their prices. Fees that come at checkout. You go, what's this garbage? Jack Armstrong comes in, has to get it out. And that's exactly what Game Time did. They said, get this garbage out of here. Because they're going to put all-in pricing. So the price that you see on the ticket is the price that you pay for the ticket. What an amazing concept. That's what they do. They've also got their zone deals where you just pick an area that you want to sit, choose that area, you pick, I'll pick this zone here. And they go, all right, cool, we'll pick the exact seat, and on average, you save up to 18% for that ticket. No hidden fees, zone deals, flash deals, views from your seat. It's all available over on Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We go to the middle game of the day now. The Boston Celtics knocked off the Lakers 126-115. We got the Celtics at full strength again. Jaylen Brown suffered a hard fall in the first half, but he returned and started the second half. So he played 33 minutes, 19 and 5 with 3 steals, with some rough percentages on both ends. He's sort of been a bit worse than we usually expect, but he's okay in the middle. Tatum, free throw check, good news. 12 of 13, we love that. 28 and 11, 2 blocks. Sorry, that's the wrong player. 25, 8 and 7 for him, with 40% from the field, which hurts, but 92 from the line is great. While Kristaps Porzingis had 28 and 11 with 2 blocks on 58% shooting, but he was the one who shot 57% from the line. So good numbers for Porzingis, but 35 minutes is probably the big key there. With him back, Horford played just 23. He had 6 and 6. You do not need to roster Al Horford unless Porzingis is out.
Get that garbage out of here!
But they do have a back-to-back coming up, and we know that Horford is going to miss... Well, actually, no, I lie. Wrong team. What happened there? They definitely do have a back-to-back coming up. I am certain of it. Let me just double-check this. Thursday, Friday, they're going to back-to-back. So there's a chance Porzingis sits one, and Horford is streamy, and then Horford sits one of them, and then you get the value of maybe Neemias Queta, the old pastel de nata, who could jump in there as well. Now, interestingly, Queta was ahead of Luke Cornett in the rotation, even though Cornett was available. Now, he didn't do anything, but on the nights where Horford or Porzingis are out, we can look at the pastel de nata and stream him in. That's Neemias Queta. Bad night for Slam and Sammy Hauser, 2 points in his 15. While the Derek White MVP train rolls on, 18-11, 2 threes, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 62%. 10th over the last 2 weeks, 29th for the season. I just completely misevaluated what he was going to do, which is crazy considering how much I love Derek White. Just completely missed it. Drew Holiday, 18-7-7. Been a nice recovery from him after a slow start to the season. And not much else going on the Boston side. For the Lakers, that starting lineup was there again. And again, I don't care that, like I said to you the other day, I didn't care that they won the game. The starting lineup is bad. I think it was Jovan Buha who tweeted it out today. They said the starting lineup in the 2 games they played has the NBA's worst offensive rating and the NBA's worst defensive rating. Because it's bad. It is a badly spaced lineup that makes no sense. Davis was great, 39 minutes, 40 and 13 with a block, 58%. Taurean Prince on a real heater, 39 minutes. You know why he has to play so much? Because their lineups make no sense. 17 and 4 with 5 threes. You can roster him. He'll be like Leaky Beasley, though. He'll go cold at some point, but you can roster him for now. And LeBron had 16, 9, and 8 in 37 minutes. LeBron is definitely going to be questionable for next game as well. He banged knees on the Jaylen Brown incident early in the game. I cannot for the life of me understand the Austin Reeves thing. And Doris Burke, she's a locked-on listening legend as well. Doris, shout out to you, Doris. Commentating the game at the end of it, she says, I don't get what's happening. I don't understand why Austin Reeves, as their third best player, is coming off the bench and not playing. And she said something which resonates with me, and I've said it a million times. She said, someone said once, maybe she was referencing me, I don't know. She said, when a player comes off the bench, while you can still give them more minutes, it's always hard to go that extra bit to give them the 33, 34 they need when they come off the bench. Because in order to do that, you have to end up playing them 15 consecutive minutes to get to that number. It's why it makes zero sense for Austin Reeves to be stuck at 28 a night. He had 11, 6, and 3. Look, it's totally okay. And his numbers are fine. He's 53rd over the last 2 weeks in 30 minutes. But he should be playing more. He's better than every other one of these bums out here. Yes, does he suck on defense? Sure. But, Taurean Prince struggles. Cam Reddish struggles everywhere. Rui Hachimura, is he a good defender? Of course he isn't. Can he shoot? No. Can he create? No. It just doesn't make any sense to have your third best player play the 8th most amount of minutes. I think at some point, I don't have a huge amount of faith in Darvin Ham, but I think at some point that changes, but I don't get what's happening. And again, I don't give a shit about defense. He's going to get attacked on defense, but everyone else that plays above him has way bigger weaknesses. As for Reddish, 5 points in 18 minutes. Cool. You obviously don't need to roster him. I hope it's obvious. Well, Hachimura, 29 minutes. That's just too many Rui Hachimura minutes for a guy who, I am sorry, is just not very good. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 36%, no assists, no steals, no blocks, bad efficiency, no free throws, offers nothing. Not a 12-team league player. And D'Angelo Russell, 18 minutes, 8, 1, and 6. Now, Jack, you need to get cracking here.
Get that garbage out of here.
Because Russell is not playing well. The only reason I would hold D'Angelo Russell is the quality games that are left this week. That is it. You only need to hold him for that. No other reason. Because he's benched. I don't think they're putting him back into the starting lineup, and he's not going to be getting 20-plus minutes a night. But they play the 3 games in 4 nights, all quality games, starting Thursday. So there's a bit of a gap here, no Tuesday, Wednesday. But there's that 3 and 4 that is interesting. So if you want to hold for that, by all means. Otherwise, he's a very clear drop. Very clear. Because I just don't think that at any time soon he's jumping back into a larger role. And 17 minutes a night is not going to cut it for D'Angelo Russell. Bad game again. For him, he's at 8, 1, and 6. Like I mentioned, Vanderbilt played 23, he had 6 and 6. Like, he's fine as a defender. But he's not going to be a fantasy guy. There's just not enough there. Not enough minutes, enough production. He's not good enough as a player. They need to fix this shit. I think it'll take a while, though, for Darvin Ham to do it. He can be pretty stubborn, or we do it in 10-game slots or whatever he says. So I think we're going to have some real rough moments here, but it's why, like, if you invest in an Austin Reeves as a buy low maybe, that it might work out. Because I think it eventually will change, but it is just going to take a little bit of time for us to get there, unfortunately. All right, so it's Christmas Day games, so it's a tradition. Well, it's the second year we're doing it. Ben is here, my son, ready to talk about the game that we sat down and watched, the Sixers and the Heat. If you go back and watch last year's video, I reckon you'll see you look a little bit different from that.
A little bit, yeah.
From that video there. But here we are, ready to talk about the Sixers and the Heat from Christmas Day. All right, Ben, take it away.
All right, so Tobias Harris, he had 27 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, no blocks. Reed, He actually started today in replacement for Joel Embiid. He struggled. He got into some foul trouble early, and he had 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, no steals, and a block. Now, replacing Reed today was Mo Bamba, the absolute legend that he is. He played an unbelievable game. 18 points. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and no blocks. But still an outstanding game from him nonetheless. Maxi, shithouse game from him. He had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Oubre, outstanding from him today. 25 points on 9 for 16 field goals. 6 for 9 from 3 from him, which was just unbelievable. He also had 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And then D'Anthony Melton had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and a block.
So the Reed one was obviously annoying. He had 4 fouls in the first 8 minutes. Now, of course, he had 1 foul for the rest of the game, but he went out, Bamba came in, and I think Bamba had like 11 points he scored in a row, which put his numbers up. He still sucks, Bamba. Like, don't get fooled by it. Like, Embiid might miss the game on Wednesday. That's cool. That might happen. I don't think you need to rush to add Bamba. If you wanted to hold on to Reed in case Embiid doesn't play against Orlando on Wednesday, do it. But whatever. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world. And Maxi, like, it was just bad. Like, he just missed everything. I think he was 0 of 12 or something to start the game. I don't think he even scored in the first half. He had a stinker. Kelly Oubre got red hot. But so much of this is, A, to do with Embiid not being there. So Oubre played a lot more. And Batum also being out. But also just shots went in for him. They didn't go in for Maxi. It's what happens. And it's 2 big ones in a row for Harris also. And a strong game like for Melton. So, like, it's interesting. But I don't know how much it, like, changes our opinion on what these guys do. It's just that Bamba one. We know what Bamba does, right? When he plays, he can do these things. But he's just so bad in terms of positioning and defense that he's not going to get to do it often enough. All right, so on to the Miami Heat, who get a big win.
The Heat today. Triple J, the hottest 100. Jaime Jaquez Jr. had a massive game, 31 points, shot unbelievably, 11-15 from the field. And he actually had 10 rebounds and assists, 2 steals, no blocks. But that is an unbelievable game from him. And Josh, what were your pre-draft thoughts on old mate Jaime?
Yes, I was. People watching this definitely know what my pre-draft thoughts were on Jaime.
Yeah,
I was not a big fan, but he's been good. I still maintain that he maybe is not going to be all that good long term. But what do I know? He's been awesome here, and this was another game where he just couldn't miss. His shooting was unbelievable. He fills a huge role with Butler out, Richardson out. They lost Caleb Martin, so look, there's just always something weird is going on, and he stepped up, and you can't ask for much more than that, honestly.
No, you really can't, and I think this is going to be another Keegan Murray situation with you, Josh. So get ready to be hearing a lot more about Jaime from me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Caleb Martin went out earlier, only played 9 minutes today, sprained his ankle. And that allowed for Jaquez to play a lot more. And also, Miami Heat all-time franchise 3-point leader, Duncan Robinson, was outstanding today. 16 points, 5 of 10 from 3. He had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, no blocks. Tyler Hero, in his 3rd game back, played a really good one. He's looking really good. So 22 points for him, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Lowry, 33 minutes for him today. He had 12 total points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. And Adebayo had 26 points, 9-15 shooting from the field, which is not bad whatsoever. 15 rebounds, 5 assists, no steals, and 3 blocks.
Yeah, I thought Bam was really good, defensively especially, but he was hitting a ton of mid-ranges on Paul Reed. Lowry's interesting because he'll play 20 minutes one game, he'll play 33 the other. I don't know how to work out how it's going to work for him. So while these guys are out, and Butler and Richardson and now Martin, you can do it. And I still don't understand the rotations because we saw Kevin Love starting ahead of Caleb Martin in one game. Martin goes down and Love doesn't start. They start RJ Hampton. So trying to figure out how that's all going to work is really tough. But the way that Robinson's playing, now that there are these 3 sort of wing players injured, Duncan's going to have a level of value. You can have him. You don't have to, but the scoring, the threes, they're pretty strong. He's doing a lot more stuff that isn't just spot up threes, what he used to do in the past. He's been really improved in that area, but there's still a hard team to figure out long term because the just consistent cycling of guys in and out, and general soreness in his calf when he's going to return. We don't know. It's all up in the air, but it's a huge win. They always seem to find a way to do it. I guess that's what they call heat culture.
It is. We love the heat culture.
Oh yeah, massive heat culture guys over here. All right, so Ben, that is another Christmas Day cameo in the books. So thank you,
Lots of fun.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Josh.
thank you again for joining, and I hope you look forward to watching the Chargers in the playoffs this season. Should be fun.
Really hope we're looking forward to the Dolphins getting another massive playoff win, just like they got last year and the year before that, and for the last 20 years. So that's going to be a lot of fun for everybody to watch.
At least we're going to be there. So that's all we've got to say about that one.
Anyways, thanks, guys. I will most likely see you this date next year. Enjoy.
All right, let's do the final game of the night. The Mavericks get the big win over the Suns, who are, they're firmly in struggle mode at the moment, Phoenix. 124, Dallas 114, Phoenix. Dallas did this without Kyrie Irving, but they did get Derek Lively back, which is obviously really key for them. But it was all Luka, honestly. 44 minutes for Doncic, 50 points, 8 threes, 6 rebounds, 15 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks, 60% shooting, 12 of 12 from the line. It's honestly one of the best games that we've seen all season. We also heard Jason Kidd drip feed us more information about their lineup. He said last time that Exum was going to continue to start when they were healthy, and he also told us today that Derek Jones was going to continue to start. So what we saw happen was Grant Williams moved to the bench, and that's a permanent move. Tim Hardaway had the other spot, and that's going to be taken by Kyrie. Hardaway had 18 and 7 with 3 threes. He's still going to have a big role, and he's worth having for now. While Jones had 23 points with 3 threes in 35 minutes, probably worth holding. And Dante Exum, 7, 4, and 5, probably worth having as well. Lively, good to have him back. 32 minutes, 20 and 10. 89%, back in business. Go and grab him off the wire if he's sitting there, which he shouldn't be, but he might be. Williams still played 27 coming off the bench, but he had 3 blocks, 3 points, and 3 rebounds, a weird Chris Gale. Good numbers in terms of the blocks, but nothing else is good, and we don't roster him in 12 or 14-team leagues. For the Suns, you should be rostering Grayson Allen, but I've been on this for over a week and a half now. Probably longer. 32 points, 39 minutes for Grayson, 8 triples, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 55% shooting. As long as Beal is out, we roster Grayson Allen. This is not a tough decision. He's available everywhere. You do it. Eric Gordon prioritized behind him, but he had 14 points with 1 rebound and 2 assists. Booker played 40 minutes, 20 points, 10 assists, and Durant struggled. 16 points, took 11 shots, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. The vibes are off in Phoenix in a pretty big way at the moment, so hopefully they can get things figured out, but it doesn't look good at the moment, does it? And Beal's still a few weeks away. Drew Eubanks started 2 games in place of Jusuf Nurkic, and he stunk in both of them. One game he was outplayed by Udoka Azubuike, and this one, it was Chimezie Metu. Eubanks had 2 points and 7 rebounds in his 17 minutes.
Get that garbage out of here!
Nurkic is likely back on Wednesday, while Metu went bananas. 23 and 19 with 2 threes for Chimezie. That is a great game. I wouldn't bother to add him because, again, he's probably going to be the 3rd string center on Wednesday, but that's just a huge performance. Not much else going on there. Josh Okogie returned, had another locker room trip, had 1, 2, and 2, and he is obviously nowhere near decisions for us in fantasy. So that's the games. The 5 of them done across Christmas. Let's have a look how the stream of the day went. It was all right, but not great. The 10-team stream of the day was Isaiah Hartenstein. He had 11, 8, and 4. The 12-team stream of the day, that was awesome, was Grayson Allen. 32, 4, and 4 with a steal. The 14-teamer was Paul Reed. Well, we're in good position for it. Just didn't work out due to fouls. 4, 2, and 1 with a block. The 16-teamer stunk because it was Drew Eubanks. He had 2 and 7 with a steal. The Yahoo point stream was Brandin Podziemski, who had 45.8 fantasy points. That's a huge W. And the ESPN stream of the day was Dante Exum, who didn't do a huge amount, especially for points leagues. He had 19 fantasy points in that spot. That'll bring us through now to talk about the lines of the night. And we will start by talking about the monstrous line of the night. And there has literally never been anything that is further from a debate than deciding that it was going to be Luka Doncic. 50 points, 14 assists, he had rebounds, he had threes, he had steals, he had blocks, he did everything. Elite percentages, one of the best games, honestly, that you will ever see. That is how good that performance was from Luka Doncic. Your waiver wire line of the night, the best performance from a player rostered under 50% of leagues. Grayson Allen came hard for it, but he didn't end up getting there in the end because Brandin Podziemski's overall line was better. He only scored like 13 points, but he had 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals, and that got Podziemski over the line barely ahead of Grayson Allen. But Podziemski wasn't the best rookie on the day. Who do you think that went to? I think you would know who it went to. It went to the big fella himself not Dallas, in Miami, Jaime Jaquez. 31 points, elite shooting, 10 rebounds, another 2 steals. Continues to be really strong, and the injuries continue to pile up in Miami, so his role continues to be awesome. Great, good stuff. And lastly, we look at the dud of the night. when I put his stats up, it's not going to look completely duddish, but it has to be Tyrese Maxey. He did have 12 points, but he shot 20% from the field on huge volume, and he was 50% from the line. So it's put you in a gigantic gaping hole for your field goal percentage for the week. That's not ideal. Let's get the show closed out by looking at the top 6 players for the day. The top 6 players for category leagues today, of course, number 1 was Doncic, followed by Anthony Davis, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jokic, Brandin Podziemski, and Derek White comes in at number 6. Your top 6 players in, or who are rostered in under 50% of leagues. Podziemski's still under 50, just going at him. He's not going to last forever, going at him. Grayson Allen's still under 50, going at him. Chimezie Metu, don't worry about it. Kelly Oubre, maybe. Look, he was really good today, but we know he's up and down. If Embiid does miss the next game, I'm more into Oubre. Mo Bamba, I guess you could stream if Embiid is out, but that's not a long-term solution. And Josh the Hitman Hart, well, we know there. We stream in, we drop, we add, we do a bunch of stuff. Nothing secure in his role. Your top 6 players in Yahoo points leagues today: Doncic, Giannis, Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, Jalen Brunson, and Kristaps Porzingis. Lastly, let's just have a look at the little checklist that we put up to end the show of the guys that we need to make sure we're going and adding. Podziemski and Allen, they're below 50 for now. They won't be for long. Just go and grab them. Who knows how long any of that lasts, but it doesn't really matter. The other one there is Taurean Prince, who is not necessarily going to be awesome every game, but he's on a hot streak. They need his shooting. He's playing a lot of minutes. I'm not far off that one. D'Angelo Russell is a drop, unless you want to keep him for the quality game volume. And the last one is Leaky Beasley, who is going to be hot and cold. He's cold at the moment. You move on, you grab somebody else, and then you bring him in later on. And that is the end of the Christmas Day recap show. I hope you guys all had an enjoyable Christmas. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you guys had success with your fantasy teams or whatever else you were doing today. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave your comments and the thumbs up. Be a double banger. It's always great when you can do that. I love it when you do it. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.